Zombie games are everywhere. It's become quite a cliche to us at this point. With the recent disappointing Dying Light 2 release, I kinda stopped going after zombie games once I dove further into other games like Stalker Anomaly and Escape from Tarkov. However, last year I discovered a game called Contagion on the Steam store for $10. This game has been out since April 4th, 2014, so it's definitely not news to anyone familiar with the genre. To sum it up, Contagion is what else? A co-op survival game where the player can choose different maps that feature unique objectives in a campaign-style setting. Much like Left 4 Dead, the players must fight their way through the infectious horde and complete all of the objectives to finish the level and escape. The big catch to all of this is the longer that the games go on for, the more zombies spawn, so the point is to complete the objectives in time before you are completely overrun. Your character can only hold 4 items at a time, limiting heavily what you can carry in terms of weapons or keys, and you're gonna need both. If you find a new gun but can't pick it up, it becomes necessary to memorize maps and learn where you're going. The maps, for the most part, are all designed really well with different tasks that increase the overall experience at certain moments and even can immerse you. One great thing I have to say is that items, along with certain spawn locations, are randomized, which helps to immerse me in this gruesome, disgusting world. This aspect of the game reminds me of Tarkov in the sense that you're not really sure where to go at first or what to find, but as you explore the level more and more and search for items, you'll eventually come across what you need. You might die a couple of times, but in the end, you'll learn how to use your resources and equipment much better. Another awesome feature in the game is weapon customization. There's not a lot of guns, so to speak. There's not even really a lot of attachments, but each gun can hold a certain amount of ammo, much like Left 4 Dead, and can support a certain attachment such as scopes, suppressors, or even grips. It doesn't shy away at all from creating your own custom loadout, and I think that's awesome. The graphics are also a welcome surprise. I'm aware that this game wasn't very impressive looking when it first came out, but it has since then overcome a lot of obstacles, and it looks like a totally new game. The fact that it's still the source engine is crazy to me. It just doesn't feel like it. The zombie difficulty is definitely a mixture of both fair and unbalanced, but it's not a bad thing. In a realistic zombie apocalypse, you can't rule out the idea that you could easily be overrun. These aren't slow-moving zombies either, like in The Walking Dead. These zombies can jog or even stumble very fast, catching you off guard. If you watched my Fight or Flight review, you'll remember my complaint about zombie games that force you to shoot a zombie in the head twice for absolutely no fucking reason. This is also one of those shitty zombie games that has a mechanic where you have to shoot the zombie in the head twice because once wasn't enough. In Contagion, you can have the same issue sometimes, but for the most part, the game encourages you to aim for the head. Overall, Contagion has so much content in it, and it provided a really great experience for me. But I need to talk about what I don't like about it, otherwise this wouldn't be a fair and balanced video, and I want you guys to be sure that you're getting your money's worth. You're familiar with No More Room in Hell, a free-to-play zombie survival game where you complete objectives between varying maps and survive against the undead. Sounds very similar to Contagion, but both share flaws more than anything. Problem number 1, the difficulty. It's no surprise that playing Contagion for the first time is often seen as redundant and confusing to players. The game doesn't exactly hold your hand, and it doesn't teach you much of the controls, besides directly putting the controls on the loading screen. You know, I never knew why games do this. Isn't the loading screen supposed to look cool with backdrops and logos and shit? Why the fuck did they just copy and paste the control manual into the goddamn game? As if it's not more complicated than they're making it out to seem. Problem number 2, the AI. Unlike No More Room in Hell, you can choose to bring survivor bots in with you on any map in Contagion. However, these bots do absolutely nothing for you, often just wasting their bullets trying to shoot out a fucking window. There's a setting that allows you to change the bot difficulty, whether or not your human survivor friends are gonna be better or worse at their job, but no matter how much I fuck around with it, they only ever seem to follow me for the first few minutes of each map before they just randomly get stuck somewhere. It's bizarre and fucking annoying. Problem number 3 that plagues both of these games are the random hordes of zombies. While I defended the difficulty at first, I should mention that difficulty is something that shouldn't make the player feel weighed down. A fair challenge would be, I guess, I don't know, playing The Last of Us on grounded mode, because I had to do it fucking twice on PS4. An unfair challenge, however, is randomly spawning a horde of infected to come and swarm me when I activate a new part of the map, and I'm almost out of ammunition. It's treated like the hordes in Left 4 Dead 2, but since the loot in this game is much more randomized and there's much less of it, you can't always guarantee you'll even have a gun before you get to this point. Once you're surrounded by zombies, you're dead as fuck. Although the game suffers from many ailments, it's still a hell of a lot more fun to play for me than No More Room in Hell, but it could use some really unique features to set it apart from anything today. I mean, how cool would it be to have a leveling mechanic? Maybe before each game you get to choose a series of perks or a weapon loadout with custom attachments? How about a skill tree? How about unlockable cosmetics? How about new maps? The possibilities are endless here, but I'm not too sure if anybody's home anymore in the studio. It's been awfully radio silent. The game has clearly been out for a long time, and I know that doesn't necessarily mean it's not being cared for, but the fact remains that the game is still available for live tender purchase, which makes this discussion completely reasonable. The amount of potential that Contagion actually holds is insane to me. Imagine having a legitimate single-player storyline, amazing and dramatic cutscenes, maybe even some character development. I mean, you guys are clearly hiring voice actors and people programming this shit. It just has to happen. Unfortunately, though, something tells me that this game has long run its course, and it's just rotting silently at the bottom of the list of Steam zombie games that could have been. Now that I've finished talking about Contagion, I'd like to move on to the other half of this video, a game that has been out for so long that it's not even available to play online with your friends anymore. First of all, it's important to note, I don't hate No More Room in Hell, okay? It's not a bad game, it's just hard. And I mean fucking hard. Like Obsidian hard. It's an unexpected experience at the start. When I first played this game, I was a teenager. I downloaded it at my school computer lab every study hall and played the shit out of it when I was caught up with my work. And I remember I would sometimes gather a crowd of other students who would watch me play it. Back then, I had way too much fun with the game. I wasn't focused so much on winning as much as I was obsessed with the well-done mechanics, such as the slow, realistic speeds of your character. You feel a sense of immobilization and slowness when a large group of walkers block your path forward, and every single fight could be your last with this game's clever infection mechanic. When a zombie grabs you, there's a chance that its bite will infect you. When your time runs up, you become a zombie. End of story. Makes sense, but this was the first game I had ever seen do that at the time. The idea that you could be playing this online with friends and watch them become infected just to be forced to put them down? It's priceless and hilarious. Unfortunately, there are a lot of setbacks for No More Room in Hell. The difficulty is way too hard. No matter how many times I play this game, no matter the amount of console commands, cheat codes, weapons, health items, ammunition, and keys, I always die. Or I become so bored from the longevity of completing objectives that I just straight up stop playing. Since the difficulty is exploited in multiple ways here, I'm just gonna justify the simpler ones for now. For starters, there's way too many zombies. I know this game is supposed to be based on the George Romero films, which are famous for having tons of zombies, so it's fair to assume that it's not a cakewalk, but another game that does this correctly is Zombie, which originally came out for the Wii U. The stealth mechanic in that game is still one of the coolest I've seen yet, and shooting a firearm in that game could mean life or death. No More Room in Hell's zombies aren't exactly stupid though. Their AI is probably one of the best, and they always seem to bum rush me even in the tightest of corners, and climbing certain objects doesn't help either, so basically if you get caught in a crowd, which you're going to, you're fucked. Oh, I love this shit when you swing twice and miss. How the fuck did I not hit her in the stupid fucking head the first time? Another complaint I have is the ridiculous amount of running zombies. These zombies often spawn towards the middle of whatever map you're on, unless you're unlucky enough to have them spawn right in the beginning. They charge you, and despite using the controls to your advantage, the game kinda picks and chooses when you land your hits and when you don't. I guess you could chalk it up to the Source engine being so outdated, but Half-Life 2 still works like a fucking charm, so why doesn't this? After trying my hardest to play the game using my own skill, I found out at a young age that I could use console commands, especially due to it being made in Source Engine. You might be wondering, why not just activate God mode? Well, because there isn't one. I've read many Reddit posts that say typing Buddha 1 in the command console will force God mode, but it almost never works for me. Someone else on Reddit said that there are some cheat codes programmed into the system's files, but they were never coded in or something, so the option to activate God mode doesn't exist, even though it still says Buddha mode activated. Fucking liars. The only known cheat code that I still thoroughly use when I play is Impulse 101, which gives you all of the weapons, melee weapons, and ammunition in the game. You'd think having all of the guns in the game at your disposal would make you invincible, but no, not even fucking close. Like, look at this shit. I'm fighting a zombie, and then I get fucking shoved from behind? Are you fucking kidding me? And I was at full health on casual difficulty. Listen, I'm not gonna say the game is fantastic because it's not. There's too much shit in between, and there's even too much shit that cripples the player. Unlike Contagion, sprinting in this game does way more harm than good. Sure, you move slightly faster, but most of the time you're gonna end up sprinting around a corner and into a crowd of 6 fucking kids or 4 runners. It's like a joke. You can jump in this game, but it's pathetic and most of the time just drains your very limited stamina. I'm not kidding. You swing an axe, you jump, you sneeze, you fucking so much as shove a zombie away from you, you can guarantee your stamina is chewed up. It's not even realistic. Like, come the fuck on. If I had an entire army of zombies casually walking behind me, I'm not just gonna be like, oh, shit, I'm out of breath. I can't escape the monsters. I'm doomed. Your character runs at the pace of roadkill. Walking has its advantages and honestly seems to be the best choice of movement. It's still way too slow, but you'd rather go slow and safe than fast and fucked. I mean, I don't know. I might sound stupid for complaining about a game that is like wicked fucking old, but I wouldn't be complaining if the sequel was out already. That's right. No More Room in Hell 2 was supposed to come out this year. I don't think anybody has given any sort of update on that. You would think that little things like the stuff I've been complaining about would be ironed out by this point, but it isn't. The game's difficulty and overall abundance of impossible enemies and objectives makes it a chore to play. Oh. Oh yeah, that's really fucking even with cheats, man. Even with cheats, the game is too fucking hard. To conclude, these two games are obviously very different, but Contagion is probably the lesser of two evils. The graphics are much smoother, the gameplay doesn't feel buggy or glitched, the sound is really good, and it even has a big range of weaponry, playable characters, and campaign objective-based maps. However, you must then sacrifice your time to a game that doesn't even have to be this difficult. I mean, who was this invented for? 4 players who can't afford Left 4 Dead 2? What's the reason that the game is so fucking difficult? Or you choose No More Room in Hell, a game that desperately needs changes in my opinion, or at the very least, a fucking sequel, and it better be a good one too. I'm sick of all these fucking delays. Alright, it's that time of the video where I beg and plead for you guys to like and subscribe for more content. If you're feeling dangerous, you can hit that bell too to get notifications the second we upload a video. It really helps us out, and thanks a lot for the support, guys.